Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're kicking things off today with a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz lately, um, green tech, specifically in Poland. We've heard from a lot of you who are interested in exploring the opportunities in this market, and trust me, it's a market that's really taking off.
Yeah, what's interesting about Poland's green tech sector is it's really evolving from just trying to keep up with EU regulations to becoming a leader in the global green tech scene.
Now, this Deep Dive is brought to you by Target Solutions Poland. They're a company that has years of experience helping foreign businesses, just like yours, navigate the Polish market. They really are the experts at helping businesses make a smooth entry and set up for success in Poland. And they've got a service that might be really valuable to those of you who are, particularly interested in the green tech sector.
Yeah, that's right. They can create a tailored list of all the ongoing and planned green tech projects in Poland and really customize it to your specific needs and interests. Whether you're, interested in renewable energy or sustainable infrastructure, or even the latest eco-friendly technologies, they can point you in the right direction.
So if after this deep dive you're feeling inspired and ready to explore those opportunities, keep Target Solutions Poland in mind. But now let's get back to the topic at hand. What exactly are we talking about when we say green tech? It's a pretty broad term, isn't it?
It is. It's much more than just windmills and solar panels. I mean, green tech really encompasses any kind of innovation that helps reduce our environmental impact. So think about reducing carbon emissions, combating climate change, and creating a more sustainable way of life. That's really the essence of green tech.
And in Poland, that translates to a really diverse range of innovations. I mean, we're seeing growth in renewable energy sources like wind and solar, of course, but also things like energy storage, hydrogen technology, and even the circular economy. Finding ways to reuse and recycle resources and minimize waste.
Exactly. And one thing that's really noteworthy is Poland's commitment to the EU's Fit for 55 package. A lot of people might not be aware of this, but it's a really ambitious plan. It sets a target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 55% by 2030, and Poland is really stepping up to meet that challenge.
That's a huge shift for a country that's historically been pretty reliant on coal for its energy. What are the specific implications of Fit for 55 for Poland's green tech sector?
Well, for one thing, it means there's going to be a huge acceleration in the adoption of renewable energy sources. We're already seeing a surge in wind and solar energy installations, and that trend is only going to intensify in the next few years.
So it sounds like instead of viewing this transition as a burden, Poland is really seeing it as a chance to become a leader in green tech.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some really compelling reasons why Poland is in a good position to do that. For example, phasing out coal is it's a challenge, but it also creates a unique opportunity to invest in things like offshore wind farms in the Baltic Sea, and we're already seeing billions of euros flowing into that sector.
I was reading about that. It seems like offshore wind is going to be a major player in Poland's energy future. What's driving that growth besides the EU targets?
Well, Poland has some pretty abundant wind resources, especially in the Baltic Sea, which makes it a great location for large-scale offshore wind development. But it's not just about the wind itself. There have been some really significant advancements in wind turbine technology, so these projects are becoming much more efficient and cost-effective than they were in the past.
So it's a combination of natural resources and technological advancements that are coming together at the right time. Now, another thing that really struck me is this focus on waste management and the circular economy in Poland. It seems like a great example of turning a challenge into an opportunity.
Absolutely. Poland, like a lot of countries, has struggled with waste management issues, but instead of just seeing this as a problem, they're being proactive and developing some innovative solutions in the circular economy. So you're seeing companies finding ways to reuse construction materials or recycle plastics more efficiently, and even turn organic waste into bioenergy.
So not just reducing waste, but creating valuable resources in the process.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for the environment and the economy. And that brings us to another important point, the economic impact of green tech. It's not just about saving the planet, it's also about creating jobs and boosting the economy, right?
Exactly. Green tech is really a powerful engine for economic growth. And Poland is a perfect example. If you look at the numbers, the green tech sector currently contributes about 2–3% of Poland's GDP. But that number is projected to double by 2030.
Wow, that's a significant boost. And those are just the direct economic benefits. What about the ripple effects on other industries and the job market?
Well, the job creation potential of green tech is enormous. I mean, in Poland, there are already over 100,000 people employed in the renewable sector, and that number is expected to exceed 200,000 by 2030. Just think about it. Offshore wind alone has the potential to create 40,000 new jobs. And these are good jobs, high-skilled, well-paying jobs in a growing sector.
That's an incredible opportunity, especially for a country like Poland that's looking to attract and retain talent.
Mm.
I'm curious about the specific areas where we're seeing this explosive growth. You mentioned earlier a surge in wind and solar installations. Can you give us a bit more detail on that?
Sure. When it comes to wind energy, Poland had already installed over 8 gigawatts of capacity by 2023, and projections show it reaching 10, 11 gigawatts by 2030. And a lot of this growth is coming from offshore wind farms in the Baltic Sea, which, as we said, are attracting billions of euros in investment.
Those are impressive numbers. And what about solar energy? I understand Poland has seen some pretty remarkable growth in that area as well.
Yeah, the solar boom in Poland is really something. They went from a fairly modest 1.5 gigawatts of installed capacity in 2019 to over 12 gigawatts in 2023. And they're aiming for 20 gigawatts by 2030. And this exponential growth is being driven by a few things. The falling price of solar panels is one factor. And there are also some really favorable government policies that are encouraging both residential and commercial solar installations.
So it really sounds like Poland is making some significant strides in the renewable energy sector. But as with any booming industry, I imagine there are some challenges along the way as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. No boom comes without its obstacles. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to take a closer look at some of the key challenges that Poland's green tech sector is facing. We'll look at things like infrastructure limitations, workforce shortages, even regulatory hurdles, all those things that Poland needs to overcome to really reach its full potential in the green tech space.
So stay tuned as we unravel those challenges and explore the solutions that are being implemented to help make Poland a real powerhouse in the world of green tech. And if you're already thinking about how your business could be a part of this exciting landscape, don't forget that Target Solutions Poland is ready to help you navigate the complexities of the Polish market and connect you with the right opportunities.
So, before we dove into all those impressive numbers about growth, we did touch on some of the challenges facing Poland's green tech sector. So let's dig a little deeper into those.
Yeah, it's important to understand the full picture, right?
All right.
Both the potential and the hurdles. And I think infrastructure is a good place to start. We're talking about this incredible surge in renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
But can Poland's existing energy grid actually handle all that new energy coming into the system?
That is the million-dollar question, and honestly, one of the biggest challenges for Poland right now. Their current energy grid is, well, it was largely designed for a much more centralized system, based on coal. And it's really struggling to adapt to this new world of decentralized and variable renewable energy sources.
So it's kind of like trying to cram, all your clothes into a suitcase that's way too small. You've got all this clean energy ready to go, but the infrastructure just isn't there to support it.
That's a great analogy. And the lack of what's called smart grid technology is making things even tougher. Smart grids are really essential for managing all the complexities of integrating renewable energy. They use digital technologies and sensors to monitor and manage the flow of electricity in real time, to optimize efficiency and make sure everything runs smoothly.
It's kind of like a traffic control system for the energy grid, making sure everything flows smoothly, even with the ups and downs of wind and solar power. But why hasn't Poland adopted these smart grid technologies more widely?
It's a few things, really. I mean, upgrading to a smart grid system requires significant investment, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of red tape and bureaucratic delays that can really slow things down.
Ah, so it's not just a technical challenge, it's also a financial and bureaucratic one.
Exactly. And that brings us to another big hurdle, securing enough investment for the green tech sector as a whole. While EU funding has definitely helped, Poland is still pretty reliant on those external sources. And that creates some uncertainty,
Yeah,
What?
building a house on someone else's land. You're not fully in control. So how can Poland create a more, stable and self-sufficient investment environment for green tech?
Well, they need to attract more domestic investment, find ways to incentivize the private sector to get involved, and explore some of the newer financing models. For example, green bonds, those are specifically designed to fund environmentally friendly projects. Those are gaining traction worldwide and could be a great tool for Poland.
Sounds like a multi-pronged approach. Diversify those funding sources and really make it an attractive market for green tech investment. Now, what about the regulations and policies in place? How are those impacting green tech development in Poland?
Well, regulations and policies can either make or break innovation. And in Poland, it's kind of a mixed bag, to be honest. One of the biggest issues is that the permitting processes are really complicated and time-consuming, especially for large-scale projects like offshore wind farms.
So it's like you need a stack of paperwork taller than a wind turbine just to get approval. It sounds like a nightmare for developers.
It can be really frustrating for sure. All those bureaucratic hurdles, they lead to delays, they increase costs, and it can even discourage investment altogether. And then there's the issue of inconsistent policies.
Yeah, I imagine that lack of clarity would make investors nervous. It's hard to plan for the long term if the rules keep changing. So what needs to happen to make those regulations more, I don't know, business friendly?
Well, they need to streamline those permitting processes, make them more transparent and efficient. But even more importantly, they need to establish a really clear and consistent long-term policy framework, something that gives investors confidence and encourages innovation.
So a stable foundation for growth. Now, speaking of growth, let's talk about the workforce. Earlier, we talked about all the jobs green tech could create. But is Poland actually equipped to meet that demand for skilled workers?
That's another big challenge. And it's not unique to Poland, by the way. We're seeing this skills gap in green tech sectors all around the world. The demand for skilled workers, engineers, technicians, data analysts, project managers, it's just growing faster than the supply can keep up.
It's like everyone's searching for those green tech unicorns, but they're proving elusive.
Pretty much. And this shortage of qualified workers, well, it pushes up labor costs, causes project delays, and really hinders the sector's overall growth. And then to add insult to injury, there's the problem of brain drain. A lot of skilled Polish workers are being lured away by higher salaries and better opportunities in other EU countries.
So Poland's facing a double whammy. Not enough skilled workers and losing the ones they do have. It seems like a pretty daunting problem.
Yeah.
What are some potential solutions to address this workforce gap?
Well, it really comes down to investing in education, training, and talent retention. Poland needs to expand university programs in green technologies, develop more vocational training programs to equip workers with the right skills, and create incentives to attract and retain the best and brightest.
So a multi-pronged approach here too. Attract new talent and also upskill the existing workforce to meet the demands of this evolving sector. Now, we spent some time discussing those key challenges, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? Poland is actively tackling these hurdles, and they have some unique advantages that they can leverage. What would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Despite the challenges, Poland really has the potential to be a major player in the green tech space. I mean, they have a great combination of natural resources, a strategic location in Europe, and a growing commitment to innovation. All of that sets the stage for success.
All right, now that's what I like to hear. So let's shift gears and talk about those opportunities. What are some of the specific advantages that Poland can leverage to really become a green tech powerhouse? Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before the break, we were talking about some of the big challenges facing Poland's green tech sector, but now I want to hear about the good stuff, the opportunities.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them. Geographically speaking, Poland has some serious advantages. Remember we talked about all those amazing wind resources?
Yeah, that Baltic Sea coastline, it's like a giant wind farm just waiting to happen.
Exactly. And not just any wind. I mean, Poland's wind potential is really significant, and their location makes them a perfect hub for exporting energy to neighboring countries, too. And it's not all about wind either. I mean, they've got a really big agricultural sector, forestry, too. So there's plenty of biomass for energy production as well.
Wind, biomass, what else? It can't all be about natural resources, though.
Oh, definitely not. This transition to green tech is a fantastic opportunity for Poland to really modernize its entire infrastructure. And that's where all these exciting smart technologies come in.
Now you're talking. I love this tech stuff. What do you mean by smart technologies in this context?
Well, think about their electricity grid. It's the foundation of any energy system. Right now, Poland's grid is pretty outdated, and it's not really designed to handle the fluctuating nature of renewable energy sources. But if they implement smart grid technologies, they can create a much more efficient, much more reliable system.
So instead of that bumpy old dirt road we were talking about earlier, it's like they're paving a superhighway for energy, right?
Right.
One that can handle all the ebbs and flows of wind and solar power.
Exactly. Smart grids use all these sensors and digital tech to manage the flow of electricity in real time. So they're maximizing efficiency, and they can even predict demand, adjust supply accordingly, help integrate all those renewables seamlessly.
It's pretty amazing. It sounds like Poland has a real chance to create a totally cutting-edge energy system, powered by renewables, and all managed with this smart tech.
Right. And as they shift to these digital energy systems, there's a lot of room for innovation too. I mean,
Mm.
Poland could become a real hub for energy storage solutions, and that's critical as we start to rely more and more on renewables.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to store that energy somehow, right?
Yeah.
For when the wind's not blowing or the sun's not shining.
Yeah.
Are there any Polish companies innovating in this energy storage space already?
A bunch, actually. You mentioned Sol Technologies earlier. They're developing those perovskite solar cells, the
Yep.
ones that work super well even in low light conditions.
Yeah, those were so impressive. It feels like science fiction sometimes.
Right. And then there's XTPL, a company that's doing some really cool stuff with nanoprinting technology. They're basically revolutionizing electronics manufacturing, and their work is making the production of things like solar cells much more sustainable. They're reducing waste, they're lowering costs.
It's like they're printing the future of green tech. I love these stories about all these cutting-edge companies.
And don't forget some of the bigger players like Torn Polska Energia, for example. They're putting a ton of money into renewable energy projects and grid modernization. They're a major force in this energy transition.
So it seems like Poland has a good mix, right? Startups and big established companies all pushing the boundaries in green tech. And this collaborative spirit seems to go beyond Poland's borders, too. You mentioned EU partnerships earlier.
Oh, absolutely. EU membership has been a huge help for Poland in developing its green tech sector. They get access to a lot of funding programs, there's knowledge sharing, and it opens up opportunities for cross-border projects, too.
And they're attracting attention globally as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got big companies like Equinor and Ørsted and Iberdrola all investing in Poland's green tech sector.
Exactly. Those international collaborations are bringing a ton of expertise and resources to the table, which is only going to speed up Poland's green tech journey.
Well, this has been a fascinating discussion. We've unpacked the challenges, we've explored the opportunities, and we've learned about some of the amazing innovation that's happening in Poland's green tech sector. They seem to be well on their way to becoming a real leader in this space.
I agree. And, for any company that wants to get in on the action, Target Solutions Poland is a really valuable resource. They have a long history of helping foreign businesses navigate the Polish market, and they're true experts in the green tech landscape.
That's right. They can do all sorts of things, like create a custom list of green tech projects that are a perfect fit for you, connect you with the right partners, and even help you with recruitment. So if you're feeling inspired after this deep dive, reach out to Target Solutions Poland.
They're the experts you need. And for those of you who are particularly interested in wind energy, make sure you tune in next time for our next deep dive. We'll be taking a closer look at all the exciting developments and investment opportunities in Poland's wind energy market.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of green